Fleet Commander Zixthar had watched the stars for 40 years. His 4 eyes could pick out the smallest details on the massive display screens that covered the walls of Sentinel Prime. The defense station floated at the edge of Tarkonian Empire space, silent and watchful. Every ship, every piece of space dust, every comet that came near their borders showed up on his screens. Nothing escaped the detection grid. Nothing ever had. Zixthar walked slowly across the command center. His long legs carried him past rows of officers who sat at their stations. Each officer watched their own section of space. The Tarkonian Empire had ruled this part of the galaxy for 10,000 years. Their sensor technology was the best that existed. They could detect a single ship from 100 light-years away. They could read the heat from an engine across entire star systems. "Commander," a young officer called out. Her name was PANICS, and she handled the navigation sensors. "I have something strange." Zixthar moved to her station. Strange was not a word they used often. "Show me." PANICS pointed at her screen. A red marker blinked near the edge of their territory. "There is a gravitational distortion moving toward us. But Commander, there is nothing else. No heat signature. No electromagnetic readings. No radiation. No light. Just gravity." Zixthar felt his stomach tighten. "Check your equipment. The sensors must be damaged." "I already checked," PANICS said. Her voice was steady, but Zixthar could see fear in her eyes. "All systems are working perfectly. And Commander, the distortion is moving fast. Very fast." Zixthar leaned closer to the screen. The red marker showed something large moving through space. The computer estimated its size at about 800 meters long. Ship-sized. But ships produced heat. They produced electromagnetic signals from their engines and their computers. They produced radiation. They lit up the sensors like small stars. This thing showed nothing. It was like a hole in space itself, visible only because its gravity bent the space around it. "Get me Chief Sensor Officer Kralvex," Zixthar said. His voice came out harder than he intended. Kralvex arrived within minutes. He was old, even for a Tarkonian, and he had designed half the sensor systems they used. He looked at PANICS's screen for a long time without speaking. His breathing grew faster. "This is impossible," Kralvex finally said. "Everything in the universe produces some kind of signal. Even a cold rock, floating in space, produces infrared radiation. Even the emptiest parts of space have background radiation. This thing produces nothing. It is like a ghost. Ghosts are not real," Zixthar said. "Neither is this, according to our understanding of physics," Kralvex replied. "Yet there it is." Zixthar watched the red marker move across the display. It was slowing down. Something was controlling it. Something intelligent. "What is the trajectory?" PANICS worked quickly on her computer. Her hands shook slightly. "Commander, it is heading directly for the capital world. At current speed, it will arrive in 72 hours. The command center went silent. Everyone had heard. The capital world was home to 50 billion Tarkonians. It was the heart of the empire, and something impossible was heading straight for it. Zixthar made his decision. "Send an emergency alert to the Imperial Council. Mark it highest priority. Tell them we have an unknown contact approaching the capital. Tell them it is invisible to all our sensors, except gravity detection." He turned to face his crew. "Go to alert status 1. Track that object every second. If it changes course, I want to know immediately. If it does anything at all, I want to know." The crew moved quickly. Alert messages flew across space at faster than light speed. Within the hour, the Imperial Council received the news. The council chamber was a massive room carved from a single piece of crystal. It had stood for 5,000 years. Representatives from all the major species in the Empire gathered there. Tarkonians, Velxians, Crothians, and dozens more. They had ruled the galaxy together for centuries. They had seen wars, peace, discoveries, and disasters, but they had never seen this. High Counselor Mergzoth stood at the center of the chamber. She was tall, even for a Tarkonian, and her silver robes marked her position. "We have confirmed the report from Sentinel Prime," she said. Her voice echoed in the vast space. "Something is approaching our capital world. We cannot see it. We cannot detect it with any of our technology. We only know it exists because of its gravitational pull on the space around it." "How is this possible?" Counselor Velmar asked. He was the chief scientist of the Empire, a small Velxion with blue skin and large eyes that saw into wavelengths others could not. "I have reviewed the data. This breaks every law of physics we know. Unless what?" Mergzoth asked. "Unless it is stealth technology beyond anything we have imagined," Velmar said slowly. "Or, unless it is not from our universe at all." Fear spread through the chamber like a wave. Species that had lived in peace for generations suddenly remembered ancient wars. They remembered the stories of the old darkness, a force that had nearly destroyed the galaxy 1,000,000 years ago. Those were just legends, weren't they? "We must consider all possibilities," Mergzoth said. "This could be a weapon. It could be a natural phenomenon. It could be an attack from an unknown enemy. We have 72 hours to determine which." "Admiral Corvex, prepare the defense fleet." Admiral Corvex nodded. He was a Crothian, built like a living tank with gray armored skin. "I will gather every ship we have. If this thing is hostile, we will stop it." But in his heart, Corvex wondered, how do you fight something you cannot see? How do you shoot at something that produces no heat, no light, no signal at all? It would be like fighting a nightmare. Deep in the lower levels of the council building, a junior analyst named Ji-Hoon Park reviewed the data. He was human, one of only 3 humans working in the Empire administration. Humans were new to the galaxy, having joined only 30 years ago. Most people still thought of them as strange, with their flat faces and their odd custom of showing emotion with their mouths. Ji-Hoon looked at the trajectory data over and over. Something about the path the ghost ship followed seemed familiar. He pulled up old records, going back decades. Then he found it. 150 years ago, the Empire had sent first contact beacon packages to thousands of star systems. The packages contained messages of peace, information about the Empire, and coordinates to find them. Most of the beacons were never answered. Most were probably never found. But one of those beacons had been sent to a small yellow star system. The coordinates matched the ghost ship's origin point perfectly. Ji-Hoon's hands went cold. He printed the data and ran up the stairs to the main council level. He had to tell someone. This might not be an attack at all. This might be someone answering a very old invitation. But when he reached the council chamber doors, the guards stopped him. Junior analysts were not allowed in during emergency sessions. In orbit around the capital world, 200 warships gathered. They formed defensive patterns that had won 1,000 battles. Their weapons powered up, their shields activated. They waited for the ghost ship to arrive. And across the Empire, billions of people looked at the sky and wondered what was coming for them in the darkness. The emergency session had gone on for 12 hours. Representatives from every major world in the Empire crowded into the council chamber. The normal rules about order and speaking time had been forgotten. Everyone wanted to talk. Everyone wanted to share their fear. High Counselor Mergzoth finally struck the resonance bell. The deep sound silenced the room. "We will hear from Chief Scientist Velmar now. Perhaps he can give us answers." Velmar walked to the center platform. His small blue body looked tiny in the huge space, but his voice was strong. "I have studied all the data we have collected over the past 18 hours. The object continues to approach at steady speed. It is now 48 hours from the capital world. It continues to show only gravitational signature." He activated a holographic display. The ghost ship appeared as a red outline against a map of space. Based on the gravitational distortion, we can estimate its mass and size. It is approximately 800 meters long. It masses about 2 million tons. This is consistent with a large spacecraft. But why can we not see it? Counselor Drothix demanded. The Crothian counselor slammed his fist on his desk. Why does it produce no heat? No light? No radio waves? Nothing? Velmar's large eyes blinked slowly. I have 3 theories. None of them are good. The chamber went silent. Theory 1, Velmar said. Perfect stealth technology. Perhaps this species has learned to block or absorb all electromagnetic radiation. They would be invisible to all our sensors, but this is very difficult. Even theoretical stealth technology should leave some trace. Heat has to go somewhere. Energy has to escape somehow. This ship shows absolutely nothing. He moved to the next part of his display. Theory 2. Interdimensional travel. Perhaps this ship exists partially in another dimension. It would explain why we cannot detect it normally, but our instruments show it is clearly in our dimension. It moves through normal space. It follows normal physics, except for being invisible. And Theory 3? Merksoth asked quietly. Velmar paused. Theory 3 is that this is not a ship at all. It is a weapon. Perhaps the old darkness has returned. Perhaps this is an ancient artifact, activated after sleeping for millions of years. Perhaps it will destroy us all when it reaches the capital. Panic erupted. Counselors shouted. Some demanded evacuation of the capital world. Others called for immediate attack. A few suggested surrender. Though surrender to what? They could not say. Mergzath struck the bell again and again. We will not evacuate 50 billion people in 48 hours. It would cause more death than any attack. We will defend our home. We will defend our home. Admiral Korvex stood. His massive frame commanded attention. My fleet is in position. 200 of our finest warships surround the capital. We have planetary defense shields at maximum power. We have weapons that can crack a moon in half. If this thing attacks, we will destroy it. How? Someone shouted from the back. How do you destroy what you cannot see? Korvex had no answer for that. Outside the chamber, Jihoon Park waited. He had been waiting for 8 hours. He held his datapad with the beacon information. He had tried to send messages to the council, but junior analysts did not have that access. He had tried to tell the guards, but they had dismissed him. He was just a human. What could he know that the great minds of the Empire did not? Finally, an assistant to Counselor Velmar came out of the chamber. Her name was Sikzara, and she had always been kind to Jihoon. He stopped her. Please, Jihoon said. I have information about the ghost ship. I think I know where it came from. Sikzara looked tired. She had been translating scientific data for 12 hours straight. Jihoon. We have thousands of theories. Unless you can tell us what this thing is and how to stop it, the Council does not have time. But I found the beacon coordinates, Jihoon insisted. He showed her his datapad. Look, 150 years ago, the Empire sent a first contact beacon to this star system. The ghost ship's trajectory matches perfectly. I think someone is answering the beacon. I think this is a first contact situation, not an attack. Sikzara looked at the data. For a moment, hope lit up her face. Then it faded. Jihoon. That beacon went to a primitive system. The survey said there was barely multicellular life there. Even if they evolved into spacefaring species, they could not build something like this in only 150 years. It takes thousands of years to develop this kind of technology. But what if they did? Jihoon asked. What if they are just trying to say hello? Round. And well, Jihoon. And what if they did? Jihoon. And what if they are just trying to say hello? Then why do they not answer our hails? Sikzara said gently. We have been broadcasting to them on all frequencies. We have sent mathematical proofs, universal greetings, everything we can think of. They do not respond. They just keep coming. She patted Ji-hoon's shoulder. I will mention your theory to Velmar. But please understand. The Council must prepare for the worst. We cannot risk 50 billion lives on hope. Ji-hoon watched her walk back into the chamber. He felt frustrated and helpless. He knew he was right. He felt it in his bones. But no one would listen. Inside the council chamber, Sixera whispered to Velmar. The chief scientist looked at Ji-hoon's data briefly. Then he shook his head. The timeline does not work. And we are receiving no communications. I appreciate the young human's creativity. But this is not the time for optimistic theories. The session continued. More theories were discussed. More fears were shared. Some counselors suggested that the ghost ship was from a parallel universe. Others thought it might be a living creature. Something born in the darkness between stars. A few believed it was a test from the gods, though most dismissed this as superstition. As the hours passed, society began to break down. News of the ghost ship had leaked to the public. On the capital world, people crowded the spaceports. Everyone wanted to leave. Fights broke out. Some stores were robbed. The police struggled to maintain order. On the news networks, experts gave their opinions. Most agreed that this was an attack. Some said the empire had grown soft after so many centuries of peace. Others blamed the scientists for not developing better detection technology. A few said the empire should never have expanded so far into unknown space. Religious leaders held prayer services. Different species prayed to different gods. But all asked for the same thing: protection, salvation, a miracle. In orbit, Admiral Korvex stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked at the tactical display. His 200 ships were positioned in perfect defensive formation. He had the best crews in the Empire. He had weapons that could destroy entire fleets. But as he watched the red marker creep closer on his display, he felt something he had not felt in 40 years of military service. He felt fear. His tactical officer, a young Tarkonian named Velkas, looked at him. Admiral, what if we cannot stop it? Korvex wanted to give a brave answer. He wanted to say they would fight to the last ship, but he was honest with his crew. Then we die protecting our home. That is what we signed up for. The crew fell silent. They all knew it was true. 24 hours remained until the ghost ship arrived. The Empire held its breath and waited. Parents held their children. Lovers held each other. Soldiers checked their weapons one more time. And Ji-hoon Park sat alone in his small office, looking at his data about the old beacon. He pulled up information about the star system it had been sent to. The file was old and incomplete. The survey had been done by an automated probe. It listed one habitable world in the system. The world was marked as Class 12 Death World. Gravity too high. Oxygen levels toxic. Temperature extremes. Not suitable for colonization. The probe had detected radio waves from the planet, suggesting primitive technology. But that had been 150 years ago. The file was marked low priority for follow-up contact. Ji-hoon stared at the classification. Class 12. Death World. He wondered what kind of species could evolve on such a harsh planet. What would they be like? Would they be aggressive? Would they be desperate? Or would they be incredibly tough and resourceful? He decided to keep trying to contact someone in the council. He would not give up. If he was right, and this was a first contact situation, then the Empire was about to make a terrible mistake. Outside his window, he could see the defense fleet. 200 warships. Ready for battle. Ready to destroy the first species that had answered the Empire's invitation in 150 years. Ji-hoon picked up his datapad and headed for the council chamber again. He had to make them listen. The alert siren woke Ji-hoon from a brief sleep at his desk. He jumped up, confused for a moment. Then, he remembered. The ghost ship. It was 24 hours from arrival now. He ran to the communications center in the council building. Other workers crowded around the main display. Everyone was pointing and talking at once. "What is happening?" Ji-hoon asked. A communications officer named Krell Mix turned to him. Her face showed shock and confusion. "It is broadcasting. The ghost ship is finally sending us a message." Ji-hoon pushed closer to the screen. "What does it say?" "That is the problem," Krell Mix said. "We cannot understand it. The translation computers are failing. It sounds like Tarkonian language, but the words are all wrong. Old. Strange. Like someone is speaking a version of our language from hundreds of years ago." Ji-hoon's heart started beating faster. Ancient Tarkonian. That was what the first contact beacon would have contained. The beacon from 150 years ago. "Let me hear it," Ji-hoon said. Krell Mix played the audio. A voice came through the speakers. It was strange. Flat. Without the musical quality of Tarkonian voices. But the words were clear to Ji-hoon. He had studied ancient protocols. He had learned Old Tarkonian as part of his analyst training. "This is the Earth vessel, Quiet Runner," the voice said. "We are responding to your first contact invitation. We apologize for any alarm our approach has caused. Our propulsion system creates no electromagnetic signatures. We come in peace and friendship. We are honored to meet you at last." The room went completely silent. Everyone stared at Ji-hoon. "You understood that?" Krell Mix whispered. "Yes," Ji-hoon said. His voice shook with excitement. "They are from Earth. They received our beacon. They are answering it. They are coming in peace." Krell Mix grabbed his arm. "Come with me. The council needs to hear this right now." They ran through the corridors. The council was still in emergency session. Guards tried to stop them, but Krell Mix outranked them. She burst into the chamber, with Ji-hoon right behind her. "Hi, Counselor," Krell Mix shouted. "The ghost ship is broadcasting. This human can translate it." 2. Every eye in the chamber turned to Ji-hoon. He felt very small and very visible. High Counselor Mergzoth gestured him forward. "Speak," she commanded. Ji-hoon walked to the center of the chamber. His legs felt weak. "The ship is called Quiet Runner. It comes from a planet called Earth. They received our first contact beacon 150 years ago. They learned our language from it. That is why they speak in Old Tarkonian. They are coming to meet us. They say they come in peace." Admiral Korvex stood up. "How do we know this is true? This could be a trick." "It matches the data I found yesterday," Ji-hoon said. He pulled up his files on the chamber's main display. "The beacon, the coordinates, everything matches. They are telling the truth." Chief Scientist Velmar studied the data. "If this is true, then these humans developed space travel in only 150 years. That is impossible. It took us thousands of years. It took every species we know thousands of years." "Maybe it is not impossible," Ji-hoon said quietly. "Maybe they are just very motivated. We invited them." "But why can we not detect their ship?" Counselor Drothix demanded. "What kind of propulsion system is invisible?" "They said their propulsion creates no electromagnetic signatures," Ji-hoon explained. "I do not know what that means exactly, but they seem to think it is normal for them." Velmar's eyes went wide. "No electromagnetic signatures. That means, if they have somehow learned to use dark matter or dark energy as propulsion, those forces do not interact with light or normal matter. A ship powered by dark matter would produce almost no detectable signature except gravity." The chamber erupted in noise again. Dark matter was theoretical. Scientists had been studying it for thousands of years with no practical results. And these humans, from a planet no one had ever heard of, had somehow mastered it in just 150 years? "This is either the greatest scientific achievement in history," Velmar said slowly, "or the greatest lie." "We should respond to them," Ji-hoon said. "We should welcome them. They came all this way just to meet us. Or they came all this way to attack us, Korvex said. We cannot lower our guard. Murksath made her decision. We will respond. Ji-hoon Park, you will be our translator. Tell them we acknowledge their message. Tell them we are glad to meet them, but tell them to stop at a safe distance from the capital world. Tell them we will send representatives to meet them. Ji-hoon nodded. He went to the communications console. His hands shook as he typed out a message in ancient Tarkonian. He tried to remember the proper formal greeting style. Greetings to the vessel Quiet Runner from Earth. The Tarkonian Empire acknowledges your message. We are pleased to make contact with your species. We request that you stop your approach at a distance of 10 million kilometers from our capital world. We will send representatives to meet you there for formal first contact protocols. We welcome you in peace. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. He sent the message. Then everyone waited. The response came back in 15 minutes. The same flat voice spoke. We understand, and will comply. We are reducing speed now. We will hold position at the requested distance. Commander Sarah Chen of the Quiet Runner thanks you for your welcome. We have waited 30 years for this day. We are honored to finally meet the great Tarkonian Empire. Something about the message made Ji-hoon smile. The humans sounded genuinely excited. They sounded happy. Not like a species preparing to attack. They sounded like people who had just made a new friend. Over the next hours, more information was exchanged. The humans explained that they had detected the Tarkonian beacon 30 years ago. It had taken them 20 years to develop dark matter propulsion. It had taken them 10 more years to travel to Tarkonian space. They sent images of their ship. The Quiet Runner was sleek and strange, unlike any design the Empire used. It looked almost organic, with smooth curves instead of the angular designs Tarkonians preferred. They sent images of themselves. The Council gasped when they saw the first human face. So flat, so strange. They had hair on their heads, but not on their bodies. They showed emotions by moving their mouths into different shapes. It was unsettling to watch. Commander Sarah Chen introduced herself and her crew. 50 humans, she said. All volunteers. All trained scientists and diplomats. All dedicated to peaceful first contact. She explained that her ship was unarmed. We came to make friends, not war, Chen said through the translation. That would be a poor way to begin a relationship. Velmar analyzed the data they sent about their propulsion system. His hands trembled as he read. This is real, he said to the Council. They have actually done it. They have built a functioning dark matter engine. The theory is sound. The engineering is brilliant. These humans are remarkable. Or dangerous, Admiral Korvex said. Any species that can advance this fast could be a threat. Ji-hoon had been communicating back and forth with Commander Chen for hours now. He had learned about Earth, about human history, about their journey across space. Chen had a sense of humor. She had made several jokes that Ji-hoon found funny, even though he did not always understand them. Commander Chen, Ji-hoon typed. My council wishes to know more about your world. They are concerned that you advanced so quickly. Can you help them understand? The response took a few minutes. When it came, Ji-hoon's blood went cold. Of course, Chen replied. Earth is our home. It is a beautiful world, though I understand other species might find it challenging. Our gravity is quite strong. Our atmosphere has high oxygen content. We have extreme weather and many dangerous life forms. But to us, it is paradise. It made us strong. It made us innovative. We had to adapt quickly to survive. That drive to overcome challenges followed us into space. Ji-hoon pulled up the old survey file again. Class 12, Death World. He suddenly understood what that meant. These humans had evolved on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Everything about them had been shaped by a world that wanted to kill them, and now they had come to visit in ships that the Empire could not see. He looked at the council. They did not understand yet. They were still arguing about whether to trust the humans or prepare for battle. Ji-hoon realized that everything was about to change. The Empire was about to meet a species unlike any they had encountered before. A species from a world of nightmares who somehow learned to smile and make jokes. A species that mastered dark matter while the Empire was still trying to understand it. The humans had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Quiet Runner entered orbit exactly where it had been told to wait. Admiral Korvex watched it approach on his tactical display. Even now, knowing where it was, his sensors could barely detect it. The ship appeared as nothing more than a shadow, a distortion in space. "Begin detailed scans," Korvex ordered. "I want to know everything about that ship and the creatures inside it." His crew worked quickly. Specialized sensors focused on the Quiet Runner. They could not penetrate the dark matter shielding around the engines, but they could scan the crew areas. The data started coming through. The sensor officer, Vex's Toll, stared at his screen. His face went pale. "Admiral, these readings cannot be correct. The life support systems on that ship, they are reading toxic levels." "Explain," Korvex demanded. "The internal atmosphere is 21% oxygen," Vex Toll said. His voice cracked. "That is corrosive. It would burn our lungs. The gravity inside the ship is 1 standard G. That is nearly double what we consider safe. The temperature fluctuates between what we would consider freezing and dangerously hot. And Admiral, there are microorganisms everywhere. The ship is full of bacteria and other microscopic life. It should be a quarantine zone." Korvex felt his blood go cold. "And the humans live in these conditions? It appears to be normal for them," Vex Toll said. "According to these readings, they are comfortable." Korvex immediately sent the data to the council. Within minutes, Chief Scientist Velmar was on the communications screen. "Admiral, do not allow any physical contact with the humans," Velmar said quickly. "I am reviewing their planet data now. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. Do you understand what that means? Most civilized species evolved on Class 3 or Class 4 planets. Earth is 4 times more deadly than the most dangerous colonized world in the Empire." In the council chamber, panic erupted again. Velmar displayed images of Earth that Commander Chen had sent. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds. It looked beautiful from space. Then he showed the details. "Earth has gravity that would crush most of our species," Velmar explained. "It has an oxygen-rich atmosphere that is literally burning things slowly. It has massive temperature swings from seasons and day-night cycles. It has violent weather patterns, storms that could destroy buildings, waves in the ocean that are bigger than starships." Unquote. He brought up more data. "Earth is full of predators. Large animals that hunt in packs, tiny organisms that cause disease, plants that are poisonous, insects that inject venom. The humans evolved, surrounded by things trying to kill them. They had to become smart, fast, and incredibly resilient just to survive." Counselor Drathix slammed his desk. "And we invited these Death World monsters to our home? They could kill us all just by touching us with their bacteria." "No," Ji-hoon said loudly. He stood up from his translator station. "That is not fair. They are not monsters. They are just different." "You do not understand, young human," Velmar said gently. "Your species is remarkable. Yes, but you are also terrifying. You evolved in conditions that would kill 99% of species in the galaxy. Your normal is our nightmare." Ji-hoon felt anger rise in him. "I am human too, remember? Am I a monster? Have I hurt anyone in the 30 years humans have been part of the Empire?" The chamber went quiet. They had forgotten. Ji-hoon was human. He looked different with his flat face and strange proportions. But he had always been kind. He had always been helpful. He was one of the best junior analysts they had, even though he was so young. "You are different," Counselor Merkzath said slowly. "Humans who joined the Empire came from a colony world. A world that was terraformed to be less harsh. You grew up in gentle conditions. These humans from the Quiet Runner grew up on Earth itself. They are pure Deathworlders." Ji-hoon felt something twist in his chest. He had never been to Earth. His parents had been born on the colony world. New Sol. It had comfortable gravity, normal atmosphere, peaceful weather. He had grown up thinking of himself as civilized, as one of the gentle species. But Commander Chen and her crew were different. They were from the original world, the hard world. They were what humans were meant to be. "I want to meet them," Ji-hoon said. "Let me go to their ship. I can translate properly. I can help the Council understand them." "Absolutely not," Admiral Korvex said through the comm system. "It is too dangerous. We know nothing about their intentions." But High Counselor Merkzath looked thoughtful. "Actually, it makes sense. Ji-hoon is human. He can survive their environment, and he has been communicating with them successfully. He can be our ambassador." "And if they take him hostage?" Korvex demanded. "Then we will know they are hostile," Merkzath said quietly. "But if they welcome him, if they treat him with respect, then perhaps we can trust them." Ji-hoon was placed on a small shuttle with a security team. They approached the Quiet Runner slowly. As they got closer, Ji-hoon could finally see the ship clearly with his eyes. It was beautiful. The hull was smooth and dark, almost like water at night. Strange lights glowed along its surface in patterns he did not recognize. A docking port opened. The shuttle connected with a soft thud. "Remember," the security captain said to Ji-hoon, "if anything seems wrong, say the code word, and we will extract you immediately." Ji-hoon nodded, his heart pounded. The airlock door opened. The air that rushed in smelled different. It had a strange quality that Ji-hoon could not identify. Fresh. Somehow. The gravity felt heavier as he stepped through. His colony world had been set to 0.8 G. This was a full 1 G. He could feel the difference in his bones. Commander Sarah Chen waited on the other side. She was shorter than Ji-hoon expected, but she stood straight and strong. Her dark hair was pulled back from her face. Her eyes were kind. "Welcome aboard the Quiet Runner," Chen said in ancient Tarkonian. Then she switched to modern standard language. "I have been learning your current language from the broadcasts. I hope I am speaking correctly now." You are doing very well," Ji-hoon said. His own voice sounded strange to him. He realized he was speaking to another human for the first time in years. "I am Ji-hoon Park. I am the Empire's translator." "Park," Chen said with a smile. "That is a Korean name. My grandmother was Korean. It is good to meet family out here among the stars." She led him through the ship. Ji-hoon saw other crew members. They all looked different from each other. Different skin colors. Different face shapes. Different body types. But they all moved with the same confident strength. "Your council is afraid of us," Chen said as they walked. "I understand why. We have been reading the data they sent us. About Class 12 worlds. We did not realize our home was considered so dangerous. To us, Earth is just home." "What was it like?" Ji-hoon asked. "Growing up there," Chen thought for a moment. "Beautiful. Challenging. We learned young that nature does not care about us. The ocean can drown you. The sun can burn you. Wild animals can hurt you. But we also learned that working together, we can overcome anything. We built cities. We tamed rivers. We learned to predict weather. We turned a deadly world into a home." She showed him the ship's bridge. It was smaller than Tarkonian bridges, more efficient. Everything was designed for function. "Our propulsion system," Chen said, pointing to a display. "We call it dark matter drive. We discovered Earth sits in an unusual dark matter density field. We studied it for years. Then one of our scientists realized we could use it to push against space itself. No combustion. No plasma. No electromagnetic signature. We just slide through space. Ander, it is amazing, Ji-hoon said honestly. It was necessary, Chen replied. When we received your beacon, our whole world celebrated. We were not alone, but we were so far away. Conventional engines would take thousands of years to reach you. So we worked. Every nation. Every scientist. We had to develop this technology because we had to meet you. Ji-hoon felt tears in his eyes. You did all that just to say hello? Of course, Chen said, looking surprised. Is that not what you do when you meet new friends? In that moment, Ji-hoon understood. The Empire saw Deathworld predators. They saw dangerous creatures from a hostile planet. But Chen and her crew were not monsters. They were humans who had learned compassion in the hardest school in the galaxy. They had learned cooperation because they had to work together to survive. They had learned hope because without hope, they would have given up long ago. Commander Chen, Ji-hoon said. The Empire is very afraid right now. But I will help them understand. You came in peace. You deserve a peaceful welcome, Chen smiled. Thank you, Ji-hoon. That means everything to us. As Ji-hoon returned to the shuttle, he carried with him the truth. Humanity was strong. Yes. Humanity was tough. Yes. But humanity was also kind. And that was the most important thing of all. He just had to make the Empire see it. Ji-hoon was giving his report to the council when the alarms went off. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber. Every screen showed the same terrifying message. Multiple gravitational anomalies detected. Admiral Korvex's voice came through on emergency broadcast. Council, we have a situation. 12 more objects have appeared at the edge of the system. Same signature as the Quiet Runner. 12 more ghost ships. They are heading toward us. The council erupted in chaos. Councilors shouted over each other. Some ran for the exits. High Councilor Mergzoth struck the resonance bell over and over. But no one listened. It is an invasion, Councilor Drathix roared. They tricked us. The first ship was a distraction. Ji-hoon felt his stomach drop. No, this could not be right. Commander Chen had been so kind, so peaceful. There had to be an explanation. He ran to the communications console and sent an emergency message to the Quiet Runner. Commander Chen, 12 more ships just appeared. The Empire thinks this is an attack. Please explain quickly. The response came back in seconds. Chen's voice sounded shocked and upset. What? No. Those are the colony ships. They were following behind us. Oh no. We should have told you they were coming. We did not think. We are so sorry. Two. Ji-hoon broadcast her message to the whole council chamber. They are colony ships, not warships. Commander Chen says they are carrying colonists. Colonists? Velmar said. His voice was shrill with panic. How many? Ji-hoon asked Chen. The answer made him close his eyes. 50,000 humans. They are families. Scientists. Teachers. Engineers. Artists. They came hoping to establish cultural exchange with the Empire. They wanted to live among us and learn from us. The council stared at him in horror. 50,000 Deathworlders, someone whispered. Coming to our space. Admiral Korvex's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, tactical displays showed his fleet moving to intercept positions. High Counselor, I have weapons locked on all 13 human vessels. Say the word, and I will destroy them. Wait, Ji-hoon shouted. You cannot. They are civilians. Families. Children. They are invaders, Korvex said coldly. They brought 50,000 of their kind into our space without permission. This is an invasion fleet. No matter what they call it. Chen's voice came through again. Please. We mean no harm. This is all a terrible misunderstanding. In human first contact protocols, it is normal to send both a diplomatic ship and colonists. We wanted to live with you, to share our cultures. We thought this was how first contact worked. Velmar looked at Jihoon. Is this true? Is this normal for humans? Jihoon thought about human history. The old stories from Earth. Yes, he said slowly. Humans have always been explorers. When they found new lands on Earth, they sent diplomats and settlers together. They wanted to build relationships by living together, not just talking from far away. But we are not ready for this, Merksath said. Her voice shook. We cannot integrate 50,000 humans into our society. We do not know how to handle your environmental needs. We do not know if you are safe to be around. This is too much. Too fast. On the quiet runner, Sarah Chen sat in her captain's chair and felt her dream crumbling. 30 years. Humanity had worked for 30 years for this moment. Every nation on Earth had contributed. They had built 13 ships. They had trained 50,000 people in Tarkonian culture and language. They had prepared for peaceful integration. And now the Empire saw them as invaders. What do we do? Her first officer asked. His name was Marcus. And he had been on Earth when Chen was selected for this mission. If they attack, we cannot fight back. These are colony ships. We have no weapons. Chen made her decision. Broadcast this message on all frequencies. Make sure everyone in the Empire can hear it. She stood up and faced the camera. She spoke in her best ancient Tarkonian, then switched to the modern language. People of the Tarkonian Empire. My name is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth. I stand before you to apologize. We have made a terrible mistake. We did not mean to frighten you. We did not mean to invade your space. We only wanted to meet you. She paused, gathering her emotions. 150 years ago, you sent a beacon to our world. That beacon changed everything for us. We learned we were not alone in the universe. We learned there were other species out here, reaching out in friendship. That single message gave us hope and purpose. We worked for 30 years to reach you. We developed new technology. We trained people from every part of our world. We sent our best and brightest. We sent our families. We sent 50,000 people who dreamed of living among the stars with new friends. Chen's voice broke slightly. But we did not understand how different we are. We did not know our world was so harsh compared to yours. We did not know our bodies and our technology would frighten you. We were so excited to meet you that we did not think about how our arrival would look. She straightened her shoulders. We will leave. All 13 ships will turn around and go home. We will not force ourselves on you. We came in peace, and we will leave in peace. But please know this. Humanity waited 150 years for you to send that beacon. Then, we waited 30 more years to reach you. We will wait longer, if we must. When you are ready, if you are ever ready, we will be here. We will always be willing to be your friends. We will always be willing to be your friends. We will always be willing to be your friends. The broadcast ended. On the bridge of the Quiet Runner, the crew sat in silence. Some were crying. They had given up years of their lives for this mission. Some had left children behind on Earth, planning to bring them later. Now they would return home as failures. In the council chamber, the message played on every screen. Counselors watched Sarah Chen's face as she spoke. They heard the emotion in her voice. They saw the hope die in her eyes. Jihoon felt tears running down his face. He turned to the council. She is telling the truth. They really just wanted to be friends. They gave up everything to come here. They developed impossible technology just to say hello. And we are sending them away. End quote. High Counselor Mergzath sat in her chair. She looked very old suddenly. She had led the Empire for 50 years. She had made thousands of difficult decisions. But this one felt different. Velmar, she said quietly, in your professional opinion, are the humans dangerous? The chief scientist thought carefully. They are capable of being dangerous, yes. Their physical strength, their resilience, their technology. All of it could be weaponized. But High Counselor, they chose not to weaponize any of it. Commander Chen told me their ships carry no weapons. None. They came to us completely vulnerable. That is not the choice of conquerors. That is the choice of friends. Admiral Korvex appeared on the screen again. High Counselor, the human ships are turning around. They are leaving. Should I stand down? Mergzath looked around the chamber. She saw fear in the faces of the counselors. But she also saw something else. Shame. They had been given a gift, the friendship of a remarkable species. And they had rejected it out of fear. Admiral Korvex, Mergzath said slowly. Stand down. Do not fire on the human ships. Then she stood up. Open a channel to Commander Chen. Sarah Chen's face appeared on the screen. Her eyes were red, but she held herself with dignity. Commander Chen, Mergzath said, please do not leave. Not yet. You are right that we are frightened. You are right that we are not ready for 50,000 of your people, but perhaps we can start smaller. You and your crew of 50. Stay here. Live among us. Teach us about humanity. Help us understand you. And when we are ready, when we have learned to not be afraid, then perhaps the colony ships can return. Hope flickered in Chen's eyes. You would accept us? We invited you 150 years ago, Mergzath said. It would be rude to take back an invitation. Besides, Ji-hoon Park needs more humans to talk to. He is terribly outnumbered here. Laughter rippled through the council chamber. The tension broke like a released spring. Chen smiled. It was the most beautiful smile Ji-hoon had ever seen. We would be honored to stay. Thank you, High Counselor. Thank you for giving us a chance. Over the next weeks, the Quiet Runner and its crew integrated into Empire society. The colony ships turned back toward a nearby system where they could wait safely. Commander Chen and her crew set up an embassy. They shared their dark matter propulsion technology freely. Amazing Empire scientists. They shared human art, music, and food. And slowly, the Empire learned to not be afraid. They learned that Deathworld humans were not monsters. They were just people who had learned to be strong, but who chose to be kind. Ji-hoon Park was appointed as the official liaison between humanity and the Empire. He stood on the balcony of the embassy one evening, watching the stars. Commander Chen joined him. Thank you, she said quietly, for believing in us when no one else did. Thank you for coming, Ji-hoon replied. You reminded me what it means to be human. Not the gentle colony version. The real version. The version that never gives up. The version that crosses the galaxy just to make a friend. Chen handed him a small pot with a white flower. This is a peace lily. On Earth, we give them as gifts when we want to make peace with someone. I brought 1,000 of them from home, hoping to give them to our new friends. I want you to have the first one. And Ji-hoon took the plant carefully. It was beautiful and delicate. Hard to believe it came from a death world. Above them, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, 12 colony ships waited for their chance to come home. And someday, when the Empire was ready, they would return. 50,000 humans, ready to build a new life among the stars. But for now, 50 were enough. 50 ambassadors of humanity. 50 bridge builders between worlds. 50 friends who refused to give up on hope.
The great chamber of the Galactic Coalition floated in the darkness of space like a massive crystal sphere. Inside, 7 species sat in their designated seats, each representing thousands of worlds and trillions of lives. They had gathered today to discuss something unusual, something that made many of them uncomfortable. Humanity wanted to join, Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood in the center of the chamber, her dark suit a sharp contrast to the flowing robes and adaptive armor of the other species. She had practiced her speech for months. Every word mattered. This was humanity's chance to join the galaxy's oldest alliance. Honored Council, Elena began, her voice steady. Humanity has traveled the stars for 200 years. We have met 17 species. We have traded fairly. We have harmed no one. We ask now to join the Galactic Coalition as equal members. The Kryn prelate shifted in his seat. His four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his people. The Kryn had been in space for over 10,000 years. They considered themselves the wisest species in the galaxy. We have reviewed your application, the prelate said, his voice like grinding stones. Your history concerns us. Your species has fought over 4,000 wars on your home planet alone. You have killed billions of your own kind. Why should we trust you among the stars? Elena had expected this question. Every species asked it. Humans had a bloody history. There was no denying it. We do not hide from our past, she replied. Yes, we fought. Yes, we killed. But we also learned. We grew. We united. For the last 300 years, Earth has known peace. We bring that peace to the stars. A Vaxil counselor spoke next, her crystalline body chiming softly. The Accord of Settled Space has maintained galactic peace for 3,000 years. All members agree to limit their weapons. No species may develop weapons beyond Class 4 kinetic force. No plasma weapons. No antimatter bombs. No weapons of mass destruction. Will humanity accept these terms? Elena hesitated for just a moment. She had read the Accord carefully. The weapons restrictions were severe. Earth's military leaders had debated this for months, but the decision was made. We accept the terms of the Accord, Elena said. The council members whispered among themselves. The decision would take days, perhaps weeks. Elena bowed and left the chamber, hoping she had done enough, but the galaxy had other plans. 3 days later, alarms screamed across Coalition space. The Zethrak Dominion, a species that had refused Coalition membership centuries ago, attacked without warning. Their ships appeared in the outer rim systems like ghosts from dark space. They struck fast and hard. The Coalition's defense fleet responded immediately. 50 warships rushed to defend the colony world of Kelthera Prime. The fleet was strong, experienced, and confident. They had not fought a real war in generations, but their ships were solid. Their tactics were proven. The battle lasted 17 minutes. The Zethrak ships used weapons the Coalition had not seen in millennia. Plasma cannons that melted through shields like paper, energy weapons that ignored defensive barriers, missiles that tracked targets through 3 dimensions of space-time. Of the 50 Coalition ships, 43 were destroyed. The remaining 7 retreated in chaos. Kelthera Prime burned. 3 million colonists died in the first hour. The council convened an emergency session. Panic filled the great chamber. Some species demanded immediate negotiations. Others called for retreat to core worlds. The Kryn prelate stood and raised his forearms for silence. We are bound by the Accord, he said. We cannot develop weapons to match the Zethrak. It would take decades to research, decades to build. We have weeks at best. The Zethrak will strike again. Then we are lost, a counselor whispered. Elena Vasquez stepped forward. She had been watching from the observer's gallery. She was not yet a full member, but the situation was desperate. Honored Council, she called out. Humanity can help. The prelate turned to her. Your species has not yet been accepted. You have no ships in our space. How can you possibly help? Elena took a deep breath. Because we never signed the Accord. We built our ships without knowing your rules. We have weapons you banned 3,000 years ago. The chamber fell silent. Every counselor stared at the human ambassador. What kind of weapons? The prelate asked slowly. The kind that win wars, Elena replied. The debate that followed was fierce. Some counselors called it cheating. Others called it salvation. The Vaxil counselor who had questioned Elena days before finally spoke. We are dying. The Zethrak will not stop with the outer rim. They will come for all of us. If the humans can fight, we must let them fight. The vote was close. 4 in favor, 3 against. But it was enough. Humanity was granted provisional membership in the Galactic Coalition. In return, Earth would send military aid immediately. Elena sent the signal that same hour. The response came faster than anyone expected. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the USS Black Star. We received your call. We are already en route. ETA to Kelthera Prime. 6 hours. The Coalition officers scrambled to check their sensors. How could a human ship already be so close? Had they been waiting? Had they known? Admiral Tharxis, a Kryn military commander with 40 years of experience, pulled up the Black Star's specifications. His 4 eyes widened in shock. Then fear. The ship was massive, 2 kilometers long, heavily armored, and its weapons list made his blood run cold. Railguns that could punch through a moon, nuclear missiles with yields measured in megatons, torpedo bays loaded with antimatter warheads, point defense systems that could track 1,000 targets simultaneously, and something listed only as Hellfire Protocol Experimental. What have we done? Tharxis whispered to himself. 6 hours later, the USS Black Star dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Kelthera Prime's system. The Zethrak had left a small occupation force, 12 warships orbiting the burning planet. Captain Chen sat in his command chair, watching the tactical display. His crew was silent, waiting for orders. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. First contact with hostile aliens, humanity's first real space battle. Communications, Chen said calmly. Send a message to the Zethrak fleet. Tell them to leave the system immediately or be destroyed. Sir, his communications officer replied. They're responding. They say humans are not part of the Accord and have no authority here. Chen smiled. It was not a kind smile. Then I guess we'll have to introduce ourselves. Weapons free, all batteries. Show them what humans do to bullies. The USS Black Star lit up the darkness with weapons fire. The galaxy was about to learn a terrible truth. Humanity had reached for the stars not as explorers, but as warriors. And they were very, very good at it. The Battle of Kelthera Prime had begun. The galaxy would never be the same. The first railgun shot crossed 300,000 kilometers in less than 2 seconds. It hit the lead Zethrak cruiser dead center, punching through its shields as if they were not there. The kinetic round tore through the ship from bow to stern, and the cruiser split in half like a broken toy. On the bridge of the Coalition observation ship, Admiral Tharxis watched in stunned silence. His 4 eyes could barely process what he was seeing. The human ship moved like nothing he had ever witnessed. It did not dance away from enemy fire like Coalition ships. It charged forward directly into the Zethrak formation. They are insane, Tharxis whispered. Captain Marcus Chen stood on the Black Star's bridge, hands behind his back, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. Around him, his crew worked with practiced efficiency. No panic, no fear. Just focus. Target the cruiser on our port side, Chen ordered. Fire missile spread, pattern Delta 7. Missiles away, Captain. 6 nuclear-tipped missiles streaked toward the Zethrak ship. The alien vessel tried to evade, but the missiles were too fast, too smart. They detonated in a perfect hexagonal pattern around the cruiser. The overlapping nuclear fireballs consumed the ship in an instant. 2 down, Chen said quietly. 10 to go. The Zethrak fleet finally responded with coordinated fire. Plasma bolts and energy beams hammered into the Black Star's shields. The ship shuddered. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Shields at 60%, the tactical officer reported. Maintain course, Chen replied. Close to knife fighting range. Tharxis could not believe what he was hearing through the open communication channel. Knife fighting range? In space combat, ships were supposed to keep distance, use their shields, fight carefully. This human was doing the opposite. The Black Star plowed through the Zethrak formation like a shark through fish. Its point defense cannons filled space with streams of metal, shredding incoming missiles before they could strike. Its railguns fired again and again, each shot precise and devastating. Another Zethrak ship exploded. Then another. Captain, the weapons officer called out. We have a clear shot on their command ship. Request permission to use Hellfire. Chen paused. The Hellfire weapon had never been used in actual combat. They had tested it twice, both times on abandoned asteroids. The results had been excessive. Negative, Chen said. Save Hellfire for a real emergency. Use antimatter torpedoes instead. Yes, sir. Torpedoes locked. Firing. 2 torpedoes launched from the Black Star's forward tubes. They were smaller than the missiles, but infinitely more dangerous. Each contained a microscopic amount of antimatter, held in perfect magnetic suspension. When the magnetic field collapsed, matter and antimatter would meet. The torpedoes hit the Zethrak command ship simultaneously. The explosion was so bright that the Black Star's view screens automatically dimmed, When the light faded, there was nothing left of the command ship but expanding gas and debris. The remaining Zethrak vessels broke formation and fled. They jumped to faster-than-light speeds without even attempting a coordinated retreat. Pure panic, the Battle of Kelthera Prime was over. Total time, 14 minutes. Chen allowed himself a small smile. Stand down from combat alert. Damage report. Shields at 40%. Hull breaches on decks 7 and 11. No casualties. Repair crews are already working. Good, send a message to Admiral Tharxis. Tell him the system is secure. On the Coalition observation ship, Tharxis sat frozen in his command chair. He had fought in 17 battles during his long career. He had studied military tactics for 4 decades. He thought he understood war. He understood nothing. The human ship had just destroyed 7 warships in 14 minutes, using weapons and tactics that defied every rule of civilized warfare. The Coalition fought wars like chess matches, careful and measured. Humans fought like they wanted everyone dead. Tharxis opened a communication channel to the Black Star. Captain Chen's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm, almost bored. Captain Chen, Tharxis said slowly, your tactics are unconventional. Chen raised an eyebrow. We won, didn't we? You deliberately took damage to close distance with the enemy. You used nuclear weapons in close quarters. You risked your ship and crew in ways that seem reckless. We took calculated risks, Chen corrected. Every move was planned. We knew our shields could handle their plasma cannons long enough to get close. Once we were inside their optimal firing range, they couldn't hurt us without hitting their own ships. Basic tactics, Admiral, basic tactics. Tharxis wanted to scream. There was nothing basic about what he had just witnessed. Captain, I must ask, what is this hellfire weapon you mentioned? Chen's expression became unreadable. Something we hope never to use, Admiral. Let's leave it at that. Over the next 3 days, word of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Coalition had shared the battle recordings with all member species, hoping to boost morale. Instead, it caused a panic. The Zethrak Dominion intercepted the recordings too. Their high command watched in horror as their ships were destroyed with casual efficiency. They immediately sent a formal protest to the Coalition Council. Humanity must be sanctioned, the Zethrak ambassador demanded in a transmitted message. They have violated every principle of the Accord of Settled Space. Their weapons are barbaric. They are dangerous to all civilized species. The Coalition Council debated for hours. Some species agreed with the Zethrak. Others saw humanity's victory as salvation. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood before the council defending her species. You invited us to help, Elena said firmly. We helped. We saved millions of lives on Kelthera Prime. We stopped the Zethrak invasion. And now you want to punish us for winning? You used nuclear weapons, a counselor accused. You used antimatter. These weapons have been banned for 3,000 years. Banned by you, Elena shot back. Not by us. We never signed the accord before this week. How can we violate rules we never agreed to follow? The Kryn prelate raised his forearms for silence. The human makes a valid point. However, we must consider the implications. If humanity keeps these weapons, what prevents other species from developing them? The accord will collapse. Elena took a deep breath. This was the moment she had been preparing for. The accord already collapsed, she said quietly. The Zethrak broke it when they attacked with forbidden weapons. You can either adapt or die. Humanity offers you a third option. Let us fight your wars. We're good at it. We've had practice. The council chamber fell silent. The brutal honesty of the statement shocked everyone. Admiral Tharxis, who had been listening from the military observers section, stood up. He had thought long and hard about what he witnessed. His military training warred with his instincts. Finally, he made his decision. I support humanity's membership, Tharxis announced. We need them. The Zethrak will attack again, next time with more ships. We cannot win with our current fleet, but with human tactics and human weapons we can survive. The vote was taken, 6 in favor, 1 against. Humanity was accepted as a full member of the Galactic Coalition, but the Zethrak were not finished. Not by far. Deep in their territory, the Zethrak High Command gathered in their war chamber. They reviewed the battle recordings again and again, analyzing every human move. They saw the Black Star's weaknesses. They calculated its capabilities. They planned. 1 ship, the Zethrak Warmaster hissed. They sent 1 ship. We will send 300. We will crush these humans and show the galaxy that the Zethrak Dominion is the supreme power. Orders went out across Zethrak space. Every available warship was recalled to the home fleet. Troops were mobilized. Weapons were tested. The Grand Armada began to form. On Earth, satellite communications picked up Zethrak military transmissions. Intelligence analysts decoded them within hours. The message was clear: war was coming. Real war. Captain Chen received new orders from Fleet Command. His hands trembled slightly as he read them. Not from fear. From anticipation. "All crew, this is the captain," he announced over the ship-wide intercom. "We've just received word. The Zethrak are mobilizing their entire fleet against us. 300 ships. Maybe more. High Command wants us to fall back to Coalition core worlds and wait for reinforcements." He paused, letting that sink in. "I'm not going to do that. We're going to meet them head-on at the Terminus Nebula. We're going to show them what one human ship can do. And if we die, we're taking so many of them with us that they'll remember the name Black Star for 1,000 years. Any objections?" The bridge crew stood as one. "No, sir." Chen smiled. "Good, helm, set course for Terminus Nebula. Maximum speed. Let's go start a war." The USS Black Star jumped to faster-than-light speeds, racing toward a battle that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Behind them, the Coalition scrambled to respond. Ahead of them, the largest armada in Zethrak history waited. The galaxy held its breath. The Terminus Nebula hung in space like a vast cloud of poison, gases and cosmic dust stretching across billions of kilometers. It was beautiful and deadly. Ships could hide in its depths, using the interference to mask their approach. It was the perfect place for an ambush or a last stand. The USS Black Star dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the nebula's edge. Captain Chen stood on the bridge, looking at the tactical display. 300 red dots filled the screen. 300 Zethrak warships arranged in a perfect battle formation. They had been waiting. "Well," Chen said quietly, "I guess they really don't like us." His first officer, Commander Sarah Park, stood beside him. She had served with Chen for 8 years. She knew him well enough to hear the tension in his voice even when he tried to hide it. "Captain, we can still retreat," she said. "Jump back to Coalition space. No shame in falling back against these odds." Chen shook his head. "Look at their formation, Sarah. Look at where they're positioned. They're not just here to fight us. They're positioned to jump to Coalition core worlds. If we run, they'll follow. They'll burn through every populated system between here and Earth. Millions will die. So we fight 300 ships alone." "We fight 300 ships alone," Chen confirmed. "Inform the crew. Full combat alert. Weapons free. And tell engineering to prepare Hellfire." Park hesitated. "Captain, we've only tested that weapon twice. We don't know if it's stable in extended combat." "Then we're about to find out. Carry out your orders, Commander." "Yes, sir." The Coalition had wanted to send observers to watch the battle. Chen had refused. What was about to happen would be brutal, desperate, possibly suicidal. He did not want witnesses to humanity's potential last moments. But someone was watching anyway. Admiral Tharxis had followed the Black Star in a small, fast scout ship. He stayed far back beyond sensor range, recording everything. He had to see how the humans fought when truly cornered. He had to know if humanity was the galaxy's salvation or its doom. The Zethrak fleet detected the Black Star immediately. Why would they not? The human ship made no attempt to hide. It simply flew straight toward the center of their formation. The Zethrak War Master watched from his flagship with satisfaction. The humans were fools. Brave fools, perhaps, but fools nonetheless. One ship against 300. It would be a quick battle. He gave the order to attack. Space erupted with weapons fire. Plasma bolts, energy beams, and missiles streaked toward the Black Star from every direction. The human ship's shields flared bright under the assault, absorbing impossible amounts of punishment. "Shields at 80%, the tactical officer reported. 70, 65. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "All weapons. Show them hell." The Black Star's railguns opened up with a sound like thunder, multiple shots per second, each one capable of destroying a ship. The nuclear missiles followed, spreading through the enemy formation like deadly seeds. Antimatter torpedoes lanced through space, each detonation like a miniature sun. Zethrak ships exploded in rapid succession. 5, 10, 15. The numbers climbed, but there were so many. For every ship destroyed, 5 more took its position. The Black Star's shields continued to drop. 50%, 40, 30. "Hull breaches on multiple decks," Park reported. "We're taking serious damage, Captain." Chen watched the tactical display with cold eyes. They had destroyed 32 enemy ships. Not nearly enough. At this rate, they would be dead in minutes. Time for the final gambit. "Activate Hellfire," Chen said. The bridge crew fell silent. Everyone knew about Hellfire. Everyone had heard the rumors. An experimental weapon that had melted a 3-kilometer asteroid in the test firing. A weapon so powerful that Command had almost refused to install it. "Hellfire charging," the weapons officer said. His voice shook slightly. "Full power in 90 seconds. The Black Star took more hits." The ship shuddered. Warning alarms screamed. A plasma bolt broke through the weakened shields and struck the starboard side, burning through 3 decks. "Casualties reported," Park said. "Medical teams responding. Shields at 20%. 60 seconds to Hellfire," the weapons officer counted. More ships closed in, sensing victory. The Zethrak War Master smiled. The humans had fought well, but they were finished. He would mount the wreckage of their ship in his throne room as a trophy. 30 seconds. The Black Star rotated on its axis, bringing its bow to face the densest cluster of enemy ships. Chen gripped his command chair. This would either save them or kill them, possibly both. 10 seconds, 9, 8. "Fire when ready," Chen said calmly. Hellfire activated. Firing now. The bow of the Black Star split open like a blossoming flower. Deep inside, a massive focusing array powered up, drawing energy from the ship's entire power grid. The lights across the ship dimmed. Non-essential systems shut down automatically. Every drop of power fed into the weapon, and then it fired. A beam of pure antimatter particles, magnetically contained and directed, shot from the Black Star's bow. It was 3 meters wide and brighter than a star. It hit the first Zethrak ship and went straight through it, then through the second ship, and the third, and the fourth. The beam swept through the enemy formation like a sword through flesh, cutting in a slow arc. Every ship it touched simply ceased to exist, consumed by matter-antimatter annihilation. The explosions were so bright that sensors across the battlefield automatically shut down to prevent damage. 15 seconds of continuous fire. 47 ships destroyed in a single sweep. When the beam finally cut off, the Black Star's power grid crashed. Emergency lights activated. The ship went dark except for critical systems. In the sudden silence, Chen heard his weapons officer whisper, "My God, what have we done?" The Zethrak fleet fell into chaos. Ships broke formation. Some tried to flee. Others fired wildly in all directions. The perfect military formation dissolved into panic. "Get power back online," Chen ordered. "All non-essential systems offline. Weapons and shields only. And launch the boarding pods." Park stared at him. "Captain, we're dead in space. Our shields are gone. We can barely fight. You want to launch boarding pods?" "They're panicking," Chen explained. "We need to keep them off balance. Launch the pods at the closest ships. Let's introduce them to human Marines." The boarding pods were a uniquely human invention. Each one was essentially an armored missile with soldiers inside. They would punch through an enemy ship's hull and deploy combat troops directly into the vessel. It was insane. It was terrifying. It was very effective. 20 pods launched from the Black Star's belly, each one carrying 10 fully armed Marines. They flew toward the closest Zethrak vessels at incredible speeds. Point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but the pods were small, fast, and heavily armored. 18 reached their targets. The Zethrak crew of the cruiser Vengeance heard a terrible sound. Metal screaming as something punched through their hull. Alarms blared. Atmosphere began venting. And then the boarding pod's door exploded open. Sergeant James Rodriguez was the first one out. He had fought in training exercises that simulated alien boarding actions. He had studied Zethrak physiology and ship layouts. He was ready. The Zethrak were not ready for him. Rodriguez and his squad moved through the alien ship like a storm. Their armor could withstand plasma bolts. Their weapons fired kinetic rounds that ripped through Zethrak chitin like paper.